Welcome to Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols,
I'm Dave Kenny.
and we're going to discuss all the commission meetings and council meetings and things that affect the public in terms of litigation.
Ooh, litigation.
Ooh,
I love
well,
litigation.
Yeah, well, I guess an ordinance is litigation, isn't it?
Oh,
Well, let's go back. We have discussed some degree about the Oxford Village Council, but there's a few more things we need to probably talk about.
well, go for it.
All right, we will. Okay, of course, I don't know if we mentioned last time, but Ryan Rizzaconi resigned, from the Planning Commission
Yes. When does that become effective? Immediately?
immediately. Well, he turned in his resignation in writing, which is a requirement.
Okay.
And it was accepted by the council, as an
So-
okay thing. And as it was discussed, another topic came up, which has been kind of lingering in the background. And that subject is how many members should be on the Planning Commission.
I understand there's 9 now?
There are 9, but many of the 9 don't show up on a lot of occasions. So, as a matter of fact, some cases, they barely have a quorum
Out of 9 people?
out of 9 people. So the request was to go to 7 people on the Planning Commission, and that request was made quite a while back. And now-
Probably should keep the people that haven't been tardy.
You think that's what they should do, huh? Yeah, if that were the case, you'd probably never get to go home because you're never tardy, right?
I'm never tardy.
Okay. So that subject has come up again, and it's going to be on their agenda, the Planning Commission's agenda. So they can decide, the combination of the numbers that they want on their board.
But if they have 9, in order to have a tiebreaker, then they have to go down to 7 if they want to reduce it just a little bit.
I think they're going to go to 7,
Okay.
is my opinion.
All right.
But we'll see what happens. And of course, eventually, after they decide what route they want to go, it needs, a stamp of approval from the council, which I'm
Right.
sure will immediately be done. They had a bills run, of course. There were no DDA bills for obvious reasons.
No DDA.
Well, they do
Well,
have a.
they do have a
have.
DDA. They-
Don't spread that rumor. We'll be in deep
Although
trouble.
I've heard reports of people trying to call the DDA office and just, the phone's been disconnected.
No,
so-
it hasn't.
Well,
It's
that's-
truncated over to the administrative
Well,
building.
maybe they haven't retruncated it yet.
No, Joe Young answers the phone and says, "Hello, this is DDA." No, Joe is handling it. I know he is, his office staff.
Joe's a good sport.
He is a good sport. He'll do whatever is necessary to get the job done, that's for sure.
But
Uh,
I did hear a report that they didn't go through.
You care to let me know what the resource was?
What the resource was?
Yeah, who was the teller that told you this?
The teller?
The
You think I
individual.
was at a bank?
I'm sure you
can't-
weren't at a bank
can't-
unless you had a mask on.
I can't reveal my sources. It's a journalistic thing, you know that.
Oh, is it? Okay, that's fine.
Just that I heard, that's all.
You won't get a Christmas gift this year.
No.
Uh,
Did I
they-
get one last year?
Come to think of it,
A lump of coal.
well, that's going to be an improvement over what you're going to get next year. Donations, they're listed. The question was that as far as the entertainment in the park, what do they call it? What do you call it?
Concerts in the
Oh,
park.
there, that. Okay, I know you've done a few of those. No, not sing or
No,
play an
no,
instrument or
no.
anything. But
They'd
anyway.
never have another one if I sang.
Yeah, right. But the question came up that, how is it being paid for? And of course, donations are paying for it.
Right, and a lot of businesses have come through and,
Mhm.
well, it's not so much donations as sponsorships.
Well, yeah, they're donations, sponsorships,
Okay.
but the question was, where is that money going into what particular fund? Is it going into general fund or where's it
Oh,
going?
yeah,
And
yeah.
it was pointed out that it goes in the DDA general fund, actually. So at this point, they do have money to do different things, and they just don't have enough money to do all the
Anything
things they would like
else.
to do. At least for a little while, but that's going to change. They do have some cash coming. I can see the headlights. I mean, they're coming, the light is in the tunnel, and I hope it's not a train. Okay, but anyway, waste collection contract came up. Rizzle are the people that they're using.
Mhm.
They have, they said that they can do some changes in terms of expense if we list all the commercial dumpsters that are being used. And if Lake Orion would be interested in providing service with us as
All right.
well. But now their contract, Lake Orion's, doesn't expire until next, I believe, August. So that's a ways off,
Now,
August,
does
September.
Orion currently use Rizzo?
No, they do not. Actually, they've got sort of different pickup people
Okay.
at this point.
Okay.
But it might be an interesting thing to
But it's
consider down
part
the
of that
line.
ongoing effort to combine resources with Lake Orion. That's a
Right.
good idea.
They talked, our council talked about rental inspections. And the point came up that there are a number of homes that are neglected, that
Mhm.
renters are afraid to say anything.
And I think Maureen Helmuth was a very strong exponent of that, or proponent, should I say.
Right,
However, Tony Albensi thought that the wording of the proposed bill or ordinance was much too intrusive
right.
under the private rights of people. So that's gone back for a little revision.
Yep. Now, the reason why I thought that, of course, is that under the pending ordinance, the representative, the inspector, could enter it at their own will, determined, of course, through emergency. But what specifies an emergency? So,
I think Tony was basically making the analogy to a warrantless search.
right. And, you know, we want to protect those rights, and I think Tony
Yeah.
is right. And
Yeah.
I agree with him. And yet I agree also that there needs to be an inspection program in
Right.
place.
But
So it was
where immediate public safety or
Mhm.
the safety of the renters is concerned, then there should be some immediate access to the house.
Well, the best thing to do is jack up their rent, and that way they'll move and there won't be a problem. Maybe not. I don't think that's a good solution.
Is that what you
really.
call a lose-lose?
Definitely be a lose-lose. But anyway, the attorney has taken it back. He's going to make it softer, so it's not quite as much
A
objectionable.
kinder, gentler law.
Kinder, gentler law, yes, if that's possible. And, it is what it is.
Okay.
Okay, guess what? Lone Ranger Parade has changed directions, not directions, but where they're going to come from.
Although it almost sounded like they reaffirmed rather than changed.
They
Because
did.
they're basically going from the marketplace, which is south of town, to the fire station, which is slightly north of town. Or
Well,
in the northern sector of town.
There's about a 20-foot change. I don't know. But anyway, they promised that they would not do it again. Yeah, so that part of it is all done. So anyway, the parade is going to be
August 3rd.
coming up.
That's tomorrow. You're gonna take it till next week.
Oh, yeah, oh, that's right. Guess what? It's already gone.
Oh, well.
Well, that's not right, continue.
Thou cometh and thou goeth.
And hopefully nobody will rain on our parade.
Yeah, which week is this, by the way? What day is this? Do you know?
We should be talking about the parade and what a wonderful parade it was.
Right, it was fantastic. Okay, we're getting the note here that we're running out of time, and I think it's mostly your fault, but they talked about East
I always-
Alley rather
I
quickly,
always
which is
take
something they need to
blame.
do. Village property for sale, we've talked about that already, so 30 to 35 condos with the ability to get 80,000 in tax money coming back.
So
to the
that's
village.
basically the exact location where the current village hall
Yeah,
is.
Right. Now, it was indicated that Maureen Helmuth revealed that her sister works for 911 in Lake Orion.
Oh, that's why
So-
she took herself out of that dispatch
Yeah,
uh,
but
discussion.
she's not though, in terms of the vote
No.
as to where that's going. She made it very adamant that she wants to keep the existing 911. And we'll talk about that in just a moment when we come back.
Hi, and welcome to the final edition of Saddle Up. We'll be
Hi, welcome back to Billion Temple CrossFit. I'm your personal trainer.
Now, the perch just weren't here naturally. Something brought them here.
Welcome back to Daybreak with Susan and Joe, and we're going to wrap up our session here today and talk a little bit about water.
Okay, so when we left off, this is Minutes by Minute, Elgin Nichols.
And Dave Kenny.
We did leave off with kind of 911 hanging there. The issue is
You
that...
never want to be hanging up on the 911.
No, you don't. The issue is that, question is about the 911 service that's controlled locally, with local people. We have 3 full-time people. But what happened is that Lake Orion came in with a proposal for Lake Orion to join us, you know, in our 911 system, except there's a problem with that.
Well, yeah, it's going to, as proposed, it's going to cost us more to combine forces.
Yeah, it's supposed to save us more money.
Yeah, basically, they would support one of the individuals. However, we would have to hire the other individual. And I think Tony Albensi said, well, we'd be another $40,000 down or something like that.
Well, get this.
That doesn't figure.
Their program was to pay us $20,000 a year, but we would have to hire their 911 operator at $60,000 a year. So at least it's $40,000 in the hole. Well, anyway.
And I think Chief Newmanowski really
Oh, he
didn't
was
know
upset.
about that proposal, and it wasn't what he was quite expecting them to say.
I think he was a little upset is kind of a minor way to put it. Yeah. He said after working with this for 2 years, it is ridiculous to bring this forward,
But
to the board.
I think, just to put it on the level, the police chief who was there from Lake Orion was pretty much told by the council
Right.
what the proposal was going to be, and he didn't have much control over it at that point.
Well, here's the deal. I mean, when the chief got upset, he threw the line out, reeled in the chief, from Lake Orion. And Lake Orion chief, of course, skidded the issue. He said that this is only a beginning point. It's not the max, of what we're looking for. And I wonder where he got that idea.
Kind of reminds me of the old Romanian, what used to be called the Romanian style of negotiating.
Guillotine?
No, what's
Okay.
mine is mine and what's yours is negotiable.
Yeah, right. So anyway, I don't think, it was really accepted too well. What do you think?
To be continued. How's that?
To be continued. And they did, even after that, made a motion that we look into it further. The
Very
council
good.
did.
Of course, Tony, as always, brings up the elephant in the room, the enormous savings that we would get by going to Oakland County Dispatch.
Well, here's the deal on that. If we were to take the 3 operators that we have, and by the way, we're going to have to increase the cost of the equipment because it's got to be updated by the end of this year.
Mhm.
And that's in the tune of $114,000.
No chump change there.
No chump change. There is some indication that, there's going to be some grants. Excuse me, everybody else is fighting for the grants. So that's not a positive thing, and Tony pointed that out also. Now, how much could the community save on this by going to the county? They could save $250,000 a year, plus this year, $114,000 in addition. Now, you talk about chump change. That's not chump change.
No, and that's a lot of savings that could be applied elsewhere in the village.
Right. The problem is that some people are emotionally involved with the people that are working there, and they have a contention that local is better. But when you look at the wave of what's happening,
They like that warm and fuzzy feeling of having their own people in their own town.
question is, do they want to pay $250,000 for warm and fuzzy? If it
But
was,
time and technology has marched on, and we stand a chance of being left behind
yes. What do you mean by that?
financially.
Oh, I see, okay. All right, because if you're going to be left behind, okay. We won't
Don't go
there
religious
either.
on me.
I won't do that. Okay. They said, though, what ended up here is that the proposal, the first one was Tony brought up, that made a motion that we would get information and move towards Oakland County, the 911 service. And it was seconded, but the other 3 council members voted against it, so it was voted down. The next motion that was made was through Sue Basardi, and she said that she would like it to go to the people for a vote. Now, the attorney is going to check and see what is required to do that. Now, you may not be able to do this until the year 2014 with the way the state requires elections right now.
Well, there seemed to be some difference of opinion as to what the people would want. I'm sure that Sue would say that they want to keep the current situation. Although there was another member on the council, silver-haired guy, I don't know who he was saying that
Santa Claus.
in talking to
Ho, ho, ho.
individuals and explaining the financial benefit of it, they immediately said we would like to go to the county solution.
Right.
That was you.
That was, yes. Well, when you look at the numbers, I mean, if it was your money, you had to dip in for $250,000, and you only had $300,000 in the bank. I mean, you'd say, well, I make it this year, but I don't know about next year,
Well,
because
so
in
much-
4 years, you're going to have $1 million.
Yeah, so much for
Tied
my
up.
cruise.
Yeah. Now, one thing that came about here is that if it's on the ballot, it will have to be in a way that would reflect millage and not come right out and say, do you want 911 service to remain here in Oxford? That's not the way it would be worded. So some people might be confused and not understand the full concept of this and how much money is going to be spent by keeping it here. So the point was made that there should be a fact sheet to the citizens as to exactly how much money is going to be spent, how much they can save.
The citizenship should have good information before they make a choice.
Absolutely. And CJ was there with a leader, Oxford leader. I'm sure that he will make people aware
I'm sure
of
he
what
will.
the facts are. But this has been going on for a long time, so it's going to have to finally come to a head, because if it's held off for the election and we buy the equipment at $114,000, we can't use that equipment. So the people who have spent $114,000 and carelessly. Okay?
Oh.
And that's happened before in consulting situations and so forth, where they've spent like $50,000 for consulting and never used it.
Are you saying they're running after the train after it's pulled out?
Well, I just don't want the same thing to happen here, and I don't think, some of the commissioners do, as to what happened to DDA. DDA was pretty solvent at one time, and then all of a sudden, you could see the train going downhill, but nobody stopped the train.
No one threw their body in front of
Yeah.
it.
Now, a municipality the size of Oxford, you should have in the general fund roughly $1 million, and they've got like 300,000. So that tells you.
What was it last year?
Last year it was almost 400,000, so it's going downhill.
Okay.
So we need to be careful of that, and that can happen, and it affects everybody in the community. So what you want to do is make sure that you tune in to see what's going on, and you can do that by going to OCCTV.org and click on PEG on there, and it'll bring up the different meetings and know what
Right.
your
And better yet, be at the meeting and voice your opinion.
right. I'll tell you what, we'll be back in just a moment.
Hi, and welcome to the final edition of Saddle Up. We'll be
Hi, welcome back to Billion Temple CrossFit. I'm your personal trainer.
Now, the Perch just weren't here naturally. Something brought them here.
Welcome back to Daybreak with Susan and Joe, and we're going to wrap up our session here today and talk a little bit about water.
Welcome back to Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols,
And I'm Dave Kenny.
and we just got through talking about the Oxford Council, Village Council, and I'd like to talk now about the Oxford Board of Education.
Wonderful.
Yeah, would
Go
you like
for
to
it.
hear more?
I'd love to.
Okay, well, here we go. They have a problem on playgrounds.
What's the problem?
Equipment. They don't come up to standards now. State requirements, not
Really?
for all of them, but two of them. It's Leonard, and the other one is Christ the King.
There
which
seems
is-
to be a lot of awareness of that. I think the Friendship Park in Lake Orion, the Township of Lake Orion, has to revise their whole playground.
The state is required, that you do this. And the thing is, the Childhood Center, which is at the Christ the King, actually is going to pay a good portion, if not all of it, to get new equipment and bring it update. And I think they're going to provide equipment also to Leonard, if I understand properly.
Well, good for them.
Yep. And the problem that they have is that even people are starting to think that their equipment isn't safe for their children, and that's not the case at all. That has never been a question of safety. So the equipment is fine, it's just that there's certain requirements that the state has.
Can you give me one?
I guess those big, shoot them out of the slingshot,
What?
I don't think they work so good anymore. From maybe a safety standpoint, I don't know, but there's equipment
I never
specification.
it was never quite explained, even in the case of Lake Orion, exactly why they were deficient according to state standards, but.
I do know they used to have these carousels that used to go in a circle that you'd run alongside, and you'd probably fall off, skin your knee, and
That was
break
part
your
of-
nose, and,
When I was a kid, that was part of the fun.
yeah, but I think they became too dangerous. I haven't seen any. There might be one or two out there, but I haven't seen any of those.
Well, you
But-
don't want to make them so safe they won't be any fun anymore.
Right. Well, it's gonna cost, to do this, roughly 95,000,
So-
complete. And it'll take roughly, till the fall to actually do it. It takes roughly 2 months to get the order
Sure.
processed and so forth and actually do the job. There's 3 companies that they dealt with. One was Jack Golden and Associates. Another one that they deal with that type of equipment is Capital, and another one is Midwest. Well, they chose Golden and Associates to do this. They had the best bid, and yeah, I think the school board was impressed with them, so that's the route that they're going to go.
Is it always the low-priced one that gets the bid?
No, they're looking at quality too. Now, I want to say what came out of this meeting is that there are a lot of different companies that provide this type of equipment for schools and different, groups. So,
Okay.
yeah, so they really had a big choice in terms of selection here. Let me see, school loans, okay, they did they have a school loan that needed approved, they did approve it. Couldn't tell you the amount,
Now, which-
it's just a rumor. Do you know any rumors?
Is this the school applying for a loan or giving out loans?
No, they're applying for a loan for some
Okay,
purpose.
all
but,
right.
Technical equipment, they purchased a computer. They are kind of in limbo in terms of the software purchase for it yet,
Okay.
but that's a future consideration. They did right
Is this for the office, the administration?
I believe it's for the technical part of the, school, like the engineering department.
Okay, because I know their video editing has got incredible equipment.
They do. Yeah, they have the kind of equipment that we're gonna have here.
Made us jealous.
Just a matter of time. Yep. When you're jealous, you try to save, you pick pockets, you do everything you can to get that equipment. And that's pretty much what Bill Service has done here in the last week or so. So, by the way, have you checked your wallet lately?
It's a lot
You
thinner.
know where
I
your
don't-
wallet's been. Okay. Well, what do you have coming up?
What do I have coming up? Well, on 8/6 at 7 o'clock, the Village of Oxford Planning Commission is going to be meeting. And on 8/7 at 6:30, the Oxford Township Planning Commission Economic Development Subcommittee, that's a lot,
Yeah.
is going to be meeting. And on 8/8 at 7 p.m., the Oxford Township Planning Commission. And on the same day, at 7:30, the Addison Township ZBA, Zoning Board of Appeals. And on 8/12, at 7 o'clock, the Oxford Township Zoning Board of Appeals. And also at 7 o'clock, the Village of Leonard Council. So if you live in any of these locales and these people are making decisions that affect you directly, you should be at these meetings.
Okay, the last item I have is let's talk about the Communications Commission. You went to the last one, which is yesterday, I think.
Right.
What happened?
It was a special meeting, and
Can you tell me more?
I can tell you more. The first issue, of course, was that the previous manager had applied for unemployment, and I think the
I thought he walked off the job. Yes?
well, in a manner of speaking, yes, but
Okay.
that's to be
That's
decided.
called a quit.
I don't know if it was a quit or not. Maybe it was a ploy. I don't know. In any
my
case,
in my business, if anybody did that to me,
the
I would
lawyer-
lock the doors. You never get back.
the lawyer that the commission or the council retained is going to fill out the form for the unemployment insurance. The other thing that came up was Bill Service made a bid to get Lightronics Total Info for our station. We had
What is
not-
that?
Basically, it's a filler kind of software that works with our Lightronics broadcast system. And where a program will end a little bit short of a half hour or an hour, the Lightronics will fill it in with
Dirt.
weather, traffic conditions,
Okay.
news, that kind of thing. It goes along with our bulletin board that we create here. So it's a pretty valuable thing, and they approved it. And just to show you how quickly and nimble we are, it's in effect today.
Quickly and nimble.
Quickly and nimble.
Okay.
The other issue was the issuance of credit cards, and right now
Did they pull yours?
they didn't pull mine. I didn't have one.
Well, there, it shows you how smart the Communications Commission is.
But
Right.
both Bill and myself will have credit card to conduct business for the station.
Does Bill know this?
Oh, I was going to surprise him.
I don't get one. Okay, can I borrow yours?
No.
Okay, that's all right. Bill's a good guy. He'll let me use his.
And there were some issues about budget, but I think that's going to be tabled until the next meeting.
I see. So that's what happened.
That's what happened. It was a fairly limited set of agenda items, and it went through pretty quickly.
Did you go to the Leonard Strawberry Festival?
No, I didn't.
You missed out a good one. It was.
How did it go?
good. Oh, you know what? There's a lot of problems in terms of getting traffic over there because Rochester Road is closed. or
Yeah,
pretty much.
I've gone out to Leonard that way before.
Mhm.
It's kind of inconvenient, but you had a good turnout?
I had lots of ice cream and I really enjoyed it. This is Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
We'll catch you next time.
Bye-bye.
Now, what do you think about that? You want to go out for some ice cream?
President Roosevelt signed the Bill of Rights.
I've always appreciated the American Legion's
My gratitude to the American
Thank
Legion.
you all to the American Legion.
We have millions of veterans that are members of our organization. Thank you.
The American Legion. We serve America and its veterans. We pledge ourselves to our veterans, our youth, a strong national defense, and Americanism. These four pillars shape our work and what we do for America. There is power in our numbers. We're the largest organization of wartime veterans in the nation. We are 2.5 million members strong, men and women from every state in the nation and around the world. No other veterans organization wields this kind of power. We work relentlessly within our four pillars of service, and we succeed. The American Legion takes care of our fellow veterans and their families. We maintain close ties with Congress and the leaders in Washington, D.C. They respect us. They listen to us. We sponsor research and press for medical care and benefits for all veterans and active duty service members, whether they are members of the American Legion or not.
President Roosevelt signs G.I. Joe's Bill of Rights.
You've heard of the GI Bill of Rights, one of the most important pieces of social legislation of the 20th century. It was written and passed largely through the efforts of the American Legion. We were instrumental in the formation of what is now the Department of Veterans Affairs to make sure our veterans get the care and benefits they are promised and deserve. The young people of our nation are our future. They benefit from exceptional programs and generous scholarships that only the American Legion offers. We provide athletic programs like American Legion Junior Shooting Sports, Legion Baseball, and educational and civics programs like the Oratorical Scholarship Contest, and Boys State and Boys Nation.
As Supreme Court Justice Hugo Black stated, the quality of justice that Americans receive should not depend upon the amount of money they have.
We promote citizenship and an appreciation of government. We have all been directly involved in our nation's defense as wartime veterans. We know what policies, tools, and manpower our military needs to protect this great country. We fight to get these things done.
We're all very grateful to have the American Legion on point.
We take our case all the way to the top in Washington, D.C. to ensure that America is prepared for any threat. We are patriots through and through. We believe in our flag and all that it stands for. Our Constitution, our Pledge of Allegiance, our way of life are all fundamental to maintaining our freedom and the standing that we have as the greatest country on earth. We promote and defend these values every day in communities across the nation. These pillars represent not just what we do, but who we are. We're here to serve our fellow veterans, their families, and all of America. We are here for them. We are here for you. The American Legion asks you to join us in our mission. If you share our vision and commitment to America, visit our website at legion.org or your nearest American Legion post today.